have another God story if you wouldn't mind sharing one with us.
Yeah, honestly, my entire life has been a God story. I was born 3 months premature to a mother who had O negative blood. We had RH factor differences in 1970. It's something like less than 10% of premature babies in 1970 survived.
Wow.
I spent 3+ months in the hospital. So that's God's story number one, is that I survived that. Okay. Um, my health has been precarious ever since. I've had scarlet fever, I've had you name it, Um, these are all God stories. And at the same time, like going, and plus I had, I mentioned the difficult family situation, difficult childhood situation. But throughout all of that, I knew God was with me. Like I had an imaginary friend that I now know was God.
Mm,
If that makes any sense, it sounds silly, but it was, even as a little kid.
mm.
And my grandmother knew it. She would talk to me about it, and what has I called it my imaginary friend, and she would be like, what has your imaginary friend told you lately? And we'd talk about this. Um, I- I've been through some pretty rough situations. I moved out of my parents' house when I was 16 years old. And God followed, I listened to my intuition, I listened to the voice of God, and that's what got me through it. I mentioned earlier, I've had two near-death experiences. One after my oldest child was born, and then the last one about 6 years ago. Um, it was another asthma attack. And I passed out somewhere between the house and the hospital. I don't remember, I remember making the turn, like my husband was driving, and I remember making the turn, but that's it. The doctor, when I came to, the first words out of his mouth were, "You should be dead."
Mm.
My oxygen saturation was that my, how they do the O2 saturation was incompatible with life, is what I was told. The first words out of the nurse's mouth were, "You just had a miracle because you should be dead." The doctor said the same thing.
Mm.
This is small town Alabama. They actually came into the emergency room, the doctor, the nurse, and somebody else when I came to and prayed over me, thanking God for the miracle that had just
Really?
happened in their ER.
Wow.
Well,
That's
that was 6 years ago.
amazing. 6 years ago.
That was 6 years, roughly 5 or 6 years ago. Yeah.
So how's the asthma today?
Um, Much better. I do take medication for it, but not all the time. I don't have to take it like every day. Like certain times of the year, I have to take inhaled steroids, those kinds of things, and I use them. Other times of the year, I'm good with just my herbs and my supplements and the things that I do for it. So yeah, it's been one God story after another.
Wow, it sure has been.